Welcome everybody to section 4, electricity sources and alternatives. Now, the nice thing about this is you learned this before in grade 7. However, that was 2 years ago, and even since I taught you the similar content, I found more resources and learned more since then. So I'd like to share that with you at this time as well. Okay, so where we're working out of right now is the electricity unit. And just like we did from the space unit last time, we're starting it backwards with the more relevant to real life content first, moving in towards the more concrete types of circuits and types of energy and what static electricity and things like that. So if we look at this very first picture, okay, we have a yay, happy land Earth, okay, with energy in the palm of our hands, looking specifically at solar energy, wind energy, and it's all nicey nice blue sky. So we would consider that our green or renewable energy sources. Okay, we also have our dirty ones. Okay, we have nuclear energy, burning these gray rocks that look like coal, oil, and natural gas. So these three we usually call fossil fuels, and everybody says those are bad, we don't like fossil fuels. They're non-renewable, but a huge percentage of the electricity we get, especially in Alberta, comes from those three sources. And some people say nuclear energy is the best, but it's not renewable either. Okay? We have a finite amount of uranium and other radioactive materials, and they also produce nuclear waste. Okay, so let's go to this picture too. So there's a diagram of pump jack we see a lot of in Alberta, and even though we might be familiar with it, people in other countries might not. So coal for burning, natural gas also burning, and then oil we use for lots of different things, even making plastic. So those of you just joining us, we're doing a recording. Yeah, you can definitely have your lunch. There's no reason you can't. And just use the chat to put your words that you'd like to share in there. Okay, so the main concepts we're going to go through are these types here: solar, wind, geothermal, hydro, biomass, and tidal energy. Focusing today, probably we'll only have time for 3. So I picked out solar, hydro, and nuclear, which isn't on this list. Hopefully we'll get through all of them. This is a chart showing that, what I was saying earlier, that even though people don't like our non-renewables, okay, that is still a huge portion of where we get our electricity. So yeah, we do need to replace that slowly over time, but for now, that's our source. Okay, and then here's a picture with some other ones. Okay, so yes, there are other forms of energy, wave power, and oil platforms that we're not really going to get to in this course, but we need to be aware where our electricity comes from. If you'd like to take notes, you're welcome to. You could have a little chart like this, where you're jotting down some general details about the different types of energy. However, we'll be going pretty quickly through the content to keep the videos short. So you might want to just pay attention now, and maybe I can even put the details in there for you. That was a good question. So where was I going next? So that was from topic section 4. Okay, section 4, electricity sources and alternatives. And that's the same as topic 7 from your heat and temperature. So we're going to open that. We don't need this anymore. Okay. And if we start with this diagram, or this project, just to remind you quick, I think that's Alan's, or maybe Zen's. They're usually my samples. Okay, you had done in grade 7 a picture where you had done a label and a symbol and explanation of what that was, general information, what's great about it and what's not great about it. So that one was biomass, hydro, coal, natural gas, solar, geothermal, wind. Okay, yeah, there you go. It's Alan's. Thanks, Alan. Starting with solar. Where's my solar one? Really, the main thing we need to know for solar is that we are taking energy from the sun, okay, and converting that to electrical energy. So if we're writing that down in our notes, okay, we would say okay, some of the features of that is that currently they're not very efficient. Okay, people talk a lot about the costs. Okay, and in a place like Calgary, if the glass on the front smashes, that wrecks them. Okay, and energy conversion is the photons of light. Okay, so we're going from light energy into electrical energy. Okay, which we'll talk more about in section 3. What I had open here for you is some of the main benefits to solar energy are that you don't necessarily need wires. Okay, because normally for electricity you need a wire going from, yeah, you can have your camera on, but you don't need it. You can have wires going from wherever that electricity is being generated all the way to wherever you need to go. So if you have a little cabin in the middle of a field or by a lake somewhere, it's going to cost a lot of money for the power company to run cables all the way there for you. Okay, so instead, if you can just have a set of solar panels, then you can generate your own electricity. Okay, so this can be used for people who have cabins, and so it's not just for Canada though. We can also use that kind of technology all over the world. So even in places where we might not have access to a lot of other resources, if there's a lot of sun, you can hook it up and there you go. You don't need a big electricity generating station. Okay, so these families might not have a lot of other resources, but they can still have electricity. So they're bringing in ladders, hooking up some wires, ta-da, they have electricity. Okay, so if we're going back to our notes that I put somewhere right here. Okay, we could also talk about how you may not need power lines. Okay, and doesn't work when it's sunny though, or when it's nighttime. So if it's a cloudy day, you don't get any power. And that would be really annoying because usually when it's cloudy or nighttime, that's when we want to turn on our TV or whatever because we're inside hanging out, we're washing the dishes, we're drying things in the dryer. All these appliances take a lot of electricity. So if you can only do that on a sunny day when you'd rather be playing outside, then that doesn't work as much. One really neat invention that people are coming up with for solar cells is the idea of having them built in to the actual glass of windows themselves. So basically anywhere in your house or any building that you could find that has glass, you could put this little solar panels in between them that are totally see-through and generate electricity that way. So all these solar panel videos tend to have, yeah, so stay tuned from this little video here and it'll show you a sample. Difficult, yes, but not impossible. So this see-through piece of glass actually has little wee solar panels on the inside. Solar cells, they're called. Okay, we always say solar panel because that's what we think of in the little calculators. But it actually can be made this way. So, pardon? Yeah, I'm positive they'd be expensive at first. But as soon as people start, it's a supply and demand thing. As soon as people decide they want them and you start producing them more and you do a really good job of mass producing things, the price goes down. Things get cheaper, right? So right now, they're really expensive, okay? But later on, they won't be. So what this piece of the video is, I'm going to go back and let you listen to that.
Namely the ultraviolet and the near-infrared parts of the solar spectrum. And so we can have a very transparent solar cell. You're not capturing the visible light. Presumably that is affecting the efficiency of the panel to some degree. Yeah, if you look at a traditional solar cell, it absorbs light in all parts of the spectrum. Of the light that hits the surface, 33% of that light is converted into electricity. With a transparent cell, you cut out the visible part of the spectrum, but you can still achieve up to 22%.
There you go. So you said you can still get 22% of the light transferred through, even if you're not getting the visible light. So imagine all these smartphones and iPads and things and computers that could charge themselves. Now you'd have to be in the sun. There might be some glare, but that's a huge move for the future. I'd be really excited if people get going with that technology and move forward with it in the future. Tesla wants to build huge fields of solar panels and power the world that way, which would be great. But again, it takes a lot of time, energy, and in this case, space, right? So you'd be blocking all that land from, let's write that down. Let's say blocking land that could be used for farming, right? So if you can't have sunlight going to the plants, you can't grow your beans or potatoes or wheat or whatever you're trying to grow. So it would be really handy on the roof though, because we don't care what's underneath the roof, right? It's just indoor buildings anyways. What else could be? Oh, let's just call that in the glass of windows technologies. And I'll say, very exciting. Okay, I'll make this one a bit bigger. So what I'll do too is I will share this with you, okay, so that you have it available. Okay, I'm going to stop this particular video because that's at 13 minutes already, and I'll let it upload to YouTube, and then we'll move on to the next concept. So you can have a quick break while that loads.